Hello everybody, it's Hater. Welcome back to another Destiny 2 build video, and with the Witch Queen expansion finally being released, Savathun has a lot of secrets hidden inside of her throne world. But to kick things off, the thing that I am most excited to talk about today in today's video is Void 3.0. And after fully completing the legendary campaign on my Warlock, I've come up with a pretty solid build that you guys can use on your Warlocks too. Now, something that I will note is that this is not a final product build, hence why the artifact isn't fully open and Bungie is holding 4 fragments from us. Later on down the road, in the second week or third week of Season of the Risen, a much more finer meta will be discovered, and then we can go off from that. But as per usual, guys, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, leave a comment down in the comment section what you guys think about Witch Queen, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, follow me over at my Twitch, and there will be a dim loadout link down in the description. But let's kick things off with Void 3.0 and move over to the Void Warlock subclass. The first thing that we are going to note about Void 3.0 is that it is very similar to how the Stasis subclass trees work. There are aspects and fragments that are unique to the type of subclass, but something completely new that Bungie did to all of the Void subclasses is that they retained all 3 supers. So when looking over the supers that you can use on the Void Walker, you have the options of choosing the 3 supers that were in the previous Void subclass: Nova Bomb Cataclysm, Nova Bomb Vortex, and Nova Warp. All of these being able to be changed on the fly. The other new thing that Bungie added to the Void 3.0 subclasses is that all Void subclasses are able to use every grenade possible. Meaning that for the Warlock, grenades like the Suppressor Grenade, the Void Wall Grenade, the Void Spike Grenade, and the Magnetic Grenade are all available on top of Axion Bolts and Scatter Grenades. I will honestly admit here, Bungie really knocked it out of the ballpark with Void 3.0. And I'm extremely excited to see what they do with the other 2 subclasses. But moving on over to the new aspects for the Warlock, there are 3 of them that we're able to use. The first one is Chaos Accelerant, allowing us to hold our grenade button to overcharge our grenade. Previously, this was already on Top Tree Nova Bomb, and it applied to the Vortex Grenade, Axion Bolt, and Scatter Grenade. But now, on top of the Warlock being able to use 7 grenades at once, it will also amplify the Magnetic Grenade on top of this. Moving over to the next aspect, it is a new one called Child of the Old Gods. If you're familiar with Arc Soul from Bottom Tree Stormcaller, it is the exact same thing, but Void with a kicker. When you lay your rift, it will spawn a Void buddy that will appear over your shoulder. When you shoot an enemy with a weapon, it will then send that Void buddy out to drain and weaken enemies. Then, based on what kind of rift you're using, i.e. if you're using Healing Rift, the Void buddy will give you grenade and melee energy back, or if you're using Empowering Rift, it will give you health back. And finally, after you get kills on enemies that are affected by it, it will give you class energy back. Then finally, for the third and final aspect that Void Warlocks have, it is Feed the Void, which is basically Devour in a nutshell. Defeating a target with a Void ability is gonna proc Devour. While Devour is active, Final Blows in general will restore all of your health back and extend Devour. For the build that is in this video, I am using the Aspect Chaos Accelerant to overcharge the Vortex Grenade, since it was just recently reworked so that when it hits an enemy, it will pull enemies into it, dealing damage constantly to them. Then I'm pairing it with Child of the Old Gods to create a Wombo combo so that whenever I lay my Rift, hit an enemy and send the orb out, it will damage and start weakening enemies, and then I can pull them all together with the Void Grenade. Moving over to the fragments that Void 3.0 offers, there are going to be a lot that we're going over. But to keep it short and simple, we're just gonna blitz right through them. Starting off with Echo of Expulsion, Void ability Final Blows cause targets to explode. Echo of Provision, damaging targets with grenades grant melee energy. Echo of Exchange, melee Final Blows grant grenade energy. Echo of Remnants, your lingering grenade effects, Vortex Grenade, Void Wall, Void Spike, and Axion Bolt have increased duration. Echo of Reprisal, Final blows when surrounded by combatants grant super energy. Echo of undermining, your void grenades weaken targets. Echo of persistence, void buffs applied to you, invisibility, overshield, and devour have increased duration. Echo of leeching, melee final blows start health regeneration for you and nearby allies. Echo of domineering, after suppressing a target, you gain greatly increased mobility for a short duration and your equipped weapon is reloaded from reserves. Echo of dilation, while crouched, you sneak faster and gain enhanced radar resolution. Echo of instability, defeating targets with grenades grants volatile rounds to your void weapons. Echo of harvest, defeating weakened targets with precision final blows will create an orb of power. Echo of obscurity, finisher final blows grant invisibility. And Echo of starvation, picking up an orb of power grants devour. As for the build that I'm using Echo of expulsion, Echo of remnants, and Echo of undermining. This basically allows me to cause all of my enemies to explode when they are affected by the Child of the Old God and sucked into the Vortex Grenade just to be weakened. Now that we've gone over Void 3.0, let's move over to the armor and talk about the mods that make the build. For the armor energy of this build, we're going to need at least 2 pieces of the armor solar, 1 piece of the armor void, and 1 of the pieces stasis. Starting off in my helmet, I have it as solar. I'm using 2 ashes to assets so that I gain bonus super energy off of grenade kills. Well of life, so that picking up a solar elemental well will give me constant healing over 10 seconds. Moving over to the arms, we're using Controverse Hold so that we can improve the charging rate of our void grenades. Its exotic perk, Chaotic Exchanger, will allow us to resist incoming damage while charging our void grenade. Charged void grenades will then return grenade energy after they hit the first time. On it, I'm using Elemental Time Dilation, which will allow us to stack more time-based elemental well mods on top of each other to gain more duration. As an example, in this build, we're using Well of Life and Well of Tenacity. Using 1 copy of them in our build, only 1 per armor piece. Instead of 10 seconds for Well of Life, it'll be 13 seconds. And instead of 5 seconds for Well of Tenacity, it'll be 9 seconds. Next to it, because I'm not using champion mods at this given moment, I'm using a grenade kickstart to give me 20% of my grenade back the moment I throw it. Moving over to the chest piece, I have it as void, and I'm using Well of Tenacity so that picking up void elemental wells will give me 50% damage resistance for 5 seconds, but in this case, because of elemental time dilation, it is going to be 9 seconds. If you guys didn't know, Well of Tenacity just got recently changed with Protective Light. Instead of Well of Tenacity giving 10% damage resistance after picking up the well, it's now going to be 50%, and Protective Light is going from 50% to now 10%. Meaning Bungie literally threw Charge with Light builds out the window. Next to it though, I'm using a Void Resistance mod so that I take 25% less void damage, and the new Thermoshock Plating Dual Resistance mod, allowing me to take 25% less solar and arc damage at the same time for free. Moving on over to the boots, I have these as void, and I'm using Elemental Ordnance at the end so that defeating a combatant with a grenade will spawn a void elemental well. Then I'm using Better Already so that picking up orbs of power, if they do drop, will immediately start healing my shields, and 2 artifact rocket launcher scavengers. Then finally, over at my bond, I have it as solar, and I'm using Explosive Well Maker so that explosive damage kills from any source will create a solar elemental well. And then next to it, I'm using 2 bombers so that whenever I use my class ability, it will give me grenade energy back. Overall guys, that is the build for today's video. These are just my first impressions of Void 3.0 on the Warlock and in Witch Queen. Of course, much further down the road, I will be making a much more finalized build for GM Nightfalls. But I hope you all enjoyed the video. I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.